Hey, I'm Shemaya, a 24-year-old version who still lives with her mom. And if life was a chick flick, I'd be the girl that no one notices. The before picture. The one who's one makeover away from being, yeah, pretty. But in real life, there's no magic lipstick or fairy godmother. There's just me and this face. Scrolling through perfection every day doesn't help either. I mean, everyone has it. It just feels like everyone's got that it factor, except, of course, me. Maybe if I had it, I'd be good enough. Maybe then I'd be happy. I don't know. I mean, I don't think no, it definitely is that bad. I mean, look at my nose. It's huge. I really wish I had higher cheekbones. I mean, should I try Botox? I don't really know. It's just something about the girls that they just look so nice. And me, I look like, oh, for Pete's sake. I don't really know. I just know I don't look.
Come on. Some of us have to use the bathroom too.
Yeah, just your average invisible girl. But what if plastic surgery? I mean, people get it all the time, right? And it's just a little fix just to look like them. I mean, they're just better, prettier, happier. And if I look like that, I would be too, right? Am I really going to do this? Is this crazy? Or is this finally the answer? I mean, let's just look it up and let's just see. Okay. Information, name, card number. Let's get to it. Yeah. Yeah, this is okay. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's done.
Why don't I look different? What do I look? Why don't I look different? I don't know why you got a damn attitude. You the one that paid them people to go play in your face. I'm not mad because I wasted my money, Mom. I'm mad because I look exactly the same. The same as who? Michael Jackson? I mean, I don't even know why you touched your face. I just feel like sometimes you just don't think. Oh, so now I don't think. Well, I'm sorry, we can't all be Miss Perfect like you. And if you raise your voice to me one more time, you are going to meet him. Now listen, I'm not perfect and I've never claimed to be. But one thing I do is think before I make decisions because obviously some people don't. You know what? Maybe I should stop thinking. Because you know what? That was my problem. I got this procedure thinking that maybe after 24 years it would help me get a man. I got this procedure thinking maybe it'll finally give me the confidence to post on social media. Finally, it'll give me the confidence to go outside and really start enjoying life, go after what I want to in life, instead of feeling like everyone else is better than me. I'm so sick and tired of seeing so many people enjoy their life, be happy, and I'm just here feeling like I am not enough. So I'm sorry I couldn't be the perfect daughter that you want. And I am so sorry that I couldn't find a rich man to take care of me and everything that I want in life like you. Maybe next time, maybe in the next lifetime, I'll do that for you and make you so proud, right? Because that's obviously what you want from me, to be like you, right? Oh, thank you for reminding me what everyone else does, right? Because how could I forget that your father gave me all these cars? How can I forget that your father gave me all this money? How can I forget your father gave me this beautiful house? And everyone seems to remind me so much that I can't forget. But what no one seems to remember is that he left me. He left me to cry every single night for 10 years trying to figure out why I wasn't enough for this amazing rich man. He left me to raise two kids by myself. And at this moment, he's making me realize he left me to have to learn that you cannot give an emotion to somebody that you've never experienced yourself. So as your mother, I apologize because I've never experienced self-validation. I never felt like I was enough within myself. And I look for external validation whether it was at your father, whether it was with friends, whether it was with achievements, I look for self-validation and so many other things besides myself. And I pass that down to you. And I just want to express to you some of the things that I'm learning as a woman because obviously I've never expressed these things to you yet. I had to learn and you have to learn that you do not deserve to suffer. Because if you feel like you are seeking validation, if you feel like you have to be validated by individuals outside of yourself, by things outside of yourself, you're telling yourself, I am not enough. And that is suffering within itself. The suppression of yourself. You're suppressing how you really feel. You're suppressing your real emotions because you don't want people to look at you differently. You don't want people to feel like they can't date you. You don't want people to feel like they're not going to like your post on social media. You don't want to feel a certain way. So you're suppressing how you truly are. And I want you to know that suppression is a life of suffering. And baby, life is suffering enough. I love you to death, but one day I'm not going to be here. And depending on which one happens first, your sister not going to be here as well. And everything else and everyone else that you love is not going to be here. That is suffering enough. Don't force yourself to suffer more by not allowing yourself to validate yourself and feel like you're enough. Understand the first step is knowing you do not deserve to suffer. So stop allowing yourself, forcing yourself to suffer. That telling yourself, I'm not going to be enough until I change this, until I'm like this, until I'm like everybody else is suffering. Because that's all external validation is. All you really telling yourself is, I'm not enough. All you're really telling yourself is, I have to be like somebody else. Because that's where it comes from. It comes from you looking at somebody else and saying, well, that girl gets all the guys, so I should look like her. That girl gets a lot of likes on social media, so I have to look like her, or my body has to look like hers. That person gets a certain amount of, engagements, or they have a certain amount of friends, so I have to talk like them. You're suppressing yourself, and that is suffering. That is suffering to your true self. And you need to understand, baby, you don't deserve to suffer. And I'm not exactly sure when this realization came. I'm not exactly sure if it was you were bullied in school, or somebody said something to you, or you noticed that you were different, or something happened which made you realize you're not like everybody else and you want to fit in and you want to be the same as everybody else or get the same benefits out of life like everybody else does. But I want you to understand that moment has passed and that little girl has survived. The problem that too many people have, including myself, I noticed that I was trying to heal the younger me. Right? A lot of people try to tell us, go to the younger you and heal the younger you. And I do understand that to a certain extent. But I think the problem is we go back to that place of suffering mentally. And we try to heal that little girl, not understanding she's the one that survived. And the you now, the woman now needs help. See, the problem is you are in pain now, but you keep trying to go back to that younger you and perfect something and change something that already happened. That little girl survived, and she didn't survive for nothing. Don't let that be in vain. Don't let her have gone through all that stuff and experienced all that stuff just for you to become a woman that still believes that she deserves to suffer. She still deserves to feel that pain that she felt when she was a child, that pain that she found out when she found out she was different. You don't deserve that. So don't allow yourself to experience that, and understand you have to heal the you now. I want you to close your eyes at night and imagine that you are talking to the younger version of yourself, and imagine how she would feel looking at you, the way that you act now, the things that you are dealing with now. How would she feel? That's like a smack in the face to her, because she survived all this stuff. What was the point of her surviving? What was the point of her crying? What was the point of her going through all these emotions and all these things if you're going to grow up and become the woman that goes through the same exact things? This thing that you are feeling about yourself, the reason why you feel like you haven't achieved your life or you haven't gotten to where you want to be, I want you to ask yourself, truly, where did this belief come from? Because first and foremost, I want you to understand it's just a belief, but you have to ask yourself, is it an actual fact? Is it a false conclusion? Or is it just an assumption? Is it something that is factual? Or is it something that you just feel some way about? Is it something that is possibly just an assumption? You're just assuming. Sometimes we feel things about things that nobody has even said to us. Possibly somebody did say it to you. But there are some other things that you just assume just because you're different. This must be the reason why I'm not getting this out of life. This must be the reason why I'm not getting the likes on social media. This must be the reason why guys are not talking to me. That's an assumption. Is this just an assumption, or is it a false conclusion? It's something that you've came up with from just different things happening inside of your life, and you've come to this conclusion. But sometimes we have to realize we've had false conclusions. Sometimes we have to realize it was us that told ourselves that this was the reason why something happened. And we don't really know. And this thing could possibly be false. But a lot of times when it comes to these beliefs that we have about ourselves, they're not facts. It's not something that's written in stone saying, since you have a big nose, you can't get a boyfriend. Since you have, small lips, you can't grow on social media. All these things are not facts. So do not abide by these things and believe in these things and suppress your inner self based on something that's honestly not a fact. It's just something that's an assumption, and a lot of times a false conclusion. You have to understand that as long as you believe this thing to be true, first and foremost, you're never going to be happy in life, because life is about living. Life is about experiencing, and you're convincing yourself you're going to be happy if this thing happens, but you're not realizing you're not happy because you feel like this thing has to happen. See, if you truly live your life, and a lot of people say, I want to change this so I can live life better, and you're never going to be living life. What you're going to do is try to create a false identity. You're going to try to create a false version for yourself. And the problem that some people have is sometimes that false version can honestly get you the things that you want. It possibly can get you the followers. It possibly can get you the boyfriend. It possibly can get you all these things. But at the end of the day, as you've seen yourself, you change your face, baby. And you still in the inside feel the same. Because you truly did not realize that by changing yourself to get something else, some external validation, all you're doing is suppressing the true you. So the true you, the inner you, can't see a change on the outside, even though you look completely different. The true you can't really understand what you're doing on the outside and why you're changing yourself to be like other people, which means the true you can't exist. So you never will be happy. As long as you try to convince yourself that you are not enough, you will never be happy. And with that, you're going to validate your own feelings, because nobody want to feel crazy. Nobody want to feel like what I'm thinking is wrong. So what are you going to do? You're going to constantly do things to prove to yourself that this thing is true. And I've seen it. You convince yourself that you're not pretty and you don't look nice and all this other stuff, but you don't even have a skincare routine. You never get your hair done. You never keep up with yourself. So of course you're not going to feel pretty, but you're going to convince yourself, no, I don't feel pretty because it's my nose. No, I don't feel pretty because of my body. I don't feel pretty because of this, because of that. No, it's because you constantly do things to prove to you. You constantly show yourself, whether you realize it, evidence that there is something wrong with you. Anytime people have insecurities around something, anytime people don't feel like they're enough with something, they're going to do things around that thing to prove to themselves that they're not enough. If you feel like you talk funny, you're not going to post on social media because you're going to convince yourself, see, well, look at all these other people on social media. Nobody sounds like me. You're going to watch a whole bunch of videos of people doing well that don't sound like you to convince yourself that, hey, your voice is ugly. If you feel like you're not beautiful, you're going to look at a whole bunch of pictures of other women that look nothing like you to convince yourself this is true. And when it comes to yourself, you're going to dress in a way, you're going to talk in a way, you're going to walk in a way that's going to prove to you, see, I'm not pretty enough. See, I'm not enough. When the whole time you don't realize is you literally have made yourself ugly. In a sense of not even keeping up with yourself, in a sense of not doing things that will make you feel beautiful, because you convince yourself it has to be a large leap and it has to be a large jump, and I have to change myself in this crazy, expensive, drastic way. And a lot of times it doesn't take that. A lot of times it's little things that you can do to improve in yourself and make yourself feel better about yourself. But what do? Day in and day out, you prove to yourself more. You wear clothes that don't fit you right. You never do your hair. You never keep up with yourself. And then when you look in the mirror, what do you tell yourself? See, I knew I was ugly. And of course you feel that way because all you're doing is showing yourself evidence. So I want you to pay attention in your life. Where have you tried to make evidence that there was something wrong with you? Where have you tried to make evidence that it's something, you can't change this thing, you can't fix this thing? See, I knew it was something wrong with me. Because that's a lot of times we do when it comes to validation. With this, I do have to explain to you the different types of validation, because it's not just the physical, right? And I think a lot of times people always think it's the physical, but a lot of times it can be other ones as well. Now, you are currently experiencing the physical, right? You felt like if you changed something about your physical appearance, that it would get you something that you want out of life. But I want you to understand, all that is seeking physical validation. You are convincing yourself, if I change this thing about myself, I can get something externally. There's something that I will be able to get out of this thing. And all that is physical validation. It's you convincing yourself that you are not enough in that area. And so to be enough, you have to, quote unquote, imitate the individuals that are enough. Another one is emotional validation. This one is when you truly don't understand yourself a lot of times because you suppress your emotions so much that you need other individuals that can convince you, see, I'm right, right? You feel some way about something, you got to call a friend and ask a friend. Yeah, well, I'm right, right? Like, I'm not crazy. I'm not doing too much. I'm not, because you don't truly feel like you know yourself enough. You feel happy. You feel sad. Somebody, listen, the worst thing that can happen to you is somebody can convince you don't feel the way you do. It could be something that happened and somebody can convince you that's not that serious. And what do you convince yourself? Yeah, that's not that serious. Other people go through worse stuff. People experience worse things. No, for you, that thing made you sad. For you, that thing made you feel some way. So it was that serious. Don't allow other individuals to have to validate your emotions. Another one is achievement. Don't get into the loop of feeling like you constantly have to achieve things time and time again to make people around you happy. Because a lot of times, too, we achieve so many things, and at the end of the line, like I said, everybody has to, sorry, die. So when everything's all said and done, it's going to be you with your thoughts, you with your emotions, and you with entire portfolio of accolades, entire rows of shells of plaques and certificates and all these things. But what do they mean if you're truly not happy? So you need to ask yourself in life, when you're going after things, am I achieving this thing just to achieve this thing? Just so my mom can put this certificate on her, kitchen mantle? Am I doing this thing just so my parents can say that their daughter did this? Am I doing this thing just so I can fit in with these people? Or am I truly doing this thing because it's something that I want to do? Am I trying to receive self-validation, or am I trying to receive external validation from achievements? And another one is social validation. Now, this one is one that y'all experience so much in this generation, but it's one of feeling like people have to acknowledge what I'm doing socially. It has to be enough what I'm doing socially. And I see it happen to so many girls. I've seen it happen to you and your sisters all the time. Y'all post something on social media and it don't get a certain amount of likes in a certain amount of time, you delete it. I want you to understand, my generation, right? We used to take pictures on Polaroids and all these different things. And the only people that used to see them were our families and scrapbooks. And we used to take pictures of just anything and everything, right? And we used to take one picture, sometimes two. Now you gotta take about 70. And when social media came, I thought that was great. You can share pictures with your friends and your family, and they can see when you went on vacation. They can see when you went to that restaurant without having to come to your house and look in your photo book. But then I realized it caused things to be too perfect. I realized when we went out to eat, you would take 20 pictures of the pizza. I realized when I took pictures of you, I had to take 70 of them. Because you didn't feel like you were enough and you had to get this social validation. You feel like you have to get a certain amount of likes on social media like these other girls. Maybe a lot of these other girls edit their pictures. And I mean, that's perfectly fine. I'm not judging. But at the same time, you're trying to compare yourself to somebody that don't even look like themselves. You trying to compare yourself to somebody that don't even look like that somebody. I want you to understand, social media, when my whole idea was it, and I truly feel like it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be you being social. It's supposed to say, I went to this restaurant. I went to this concert. I wore this nice outfit. And for you to post that, not for you to feel like you have to get a certain amount of acceptance back for you to feel like that's okay. That's social validation. You need validation from others to tell you that that picture is cute enough. You need validation from others to tell you that picture of the pizza is nice enough. Oh, you can't get the cup in the background, or you can't get the straw in the background. What the hell is wrong with the background if you just go get the pizza? Nonetheless, stop looking for that social validation. And the final one I want to talk to you about is stop looking for existential validation. See, a lot of times, existential is kind of like this idea of purpose, of being. And a lot of times we look for that. And I'm not going to lie, even as a parent, I look for that with y'all for a while, right? I suffered. And I didn't want to suffer, and I didn't feel like I was enough. So I said, if I pour into my kids and I pour into what they do, I would feel like I was enough. And a lot of people do that with their job, and they pour into their job, and they pour into so many other things. But I want you to understand, nothing is going to validate you if you don't feel like you're enough. Like I said in the beginning, you have to realize you don't deserve to suffer. You have to have a certain amount of self-worth. You have to feel like I'm worthy enough to be in these places, in these spaces. I'm worthy enough to post on social media. I'm worthy enough to wear that outfit. I'm worthy enough to go into a scene and be the one that looked different, simply based on the fact that I want to do that, and simply based on the fact that this is me doing it, and I'm not doing it to get likes, and I'm not doing it to get a man. I'm not doing it to get anything else besides myself. Another one too, how can I forget financial validation? A lot of people been getting that too with social media. And I want you to understand that. And I mean, honestly, going back to the fake Photoshop pictures, you will be surprised how many individuals Photoshop their finances. They're on social media showing you all these amazing things they did and these trips they went on. I'm gonna be honest with you. First and foremost, you don't know what these people did to do these things. And a lot of times too, especially when you're young, it's so easy to look at these people live life and it's like, oh, I'm over here studying and they're going on trips and they're going on that. I want you to understand there were people like that when I was growing up. Obviously, they weren't on social media, but once you get to your 30s, you start seeing a lot of those people is struggling. A lot of those people tried to have all this fun because if we really wanted to be honest, if you wanted to live life on the edge and just do anything, there's a lot of things you could do for money. And a lot of these people be doing that. A lot of these people be faking. They be wearing the designers from the Express Alley, AliExpress, all this other stuff, and they be making you think that they got it when they really don't. They make themselves think they got it when they really don't. Don't get into this financial validation, feeling like you don't make enough, feeling like you aren't enough. I want you to understand your 20s are supposed to be a time for you to find yourself. It's not for a time for you to have a conclusion of yourself. You're trying to find who you want to be when you get older. You're trying to find who you want to be when you fully get into that career, when you get into all those things you want to get into. And don't let these individuals who are also trying to find themselves convince you that this is their conclusion. A lot of people don't realize you have to live life after your 20s. There's going to be things you're gonna have to want, you're gonna have to buy. And so while you sitting in the house sometimes saving, while you sometimes studying, while you sometimes doing the things that don't allow you to go outside and do those things, understand you're doing that to build your life for the future. There's life beyond your 20s. You can go on vacation beyond your 20s. You can buy a house. You can move out of your parents' house beyond your 20s. Don't allow yourself to become broke. Don't allow yourself to cry and struggle because a lot of these people you see on social media posting all this stuff and living this life, they're struggling. They're not going to post that, but they're struggling. You know what everybody do? Once they finally got their struggle, they want to make a long post. Like, I remember when I was sleeping on the cot and I remember when I was sleeping on the mattress on the floor. And you be like, wait. He was sleeping on the mattress on the floor? He was posting jewelry. He was doing this. Baby, don't get into the financial validation because I promise you, it's never going to end well. Now, as much as I would like to tell you, don't care what people think about you and don't worry about people think about you, I'm going to be honest. We can't do that. We're humans. We're social creatures. But what I want you to do is start curating who you care about cares about you. Because I want you to understand that in order for someone to have such an effect on your life that you want to change something about your life, first and foremost, make sure that they care about you. These people on social media don't care about you. A lot of times people have friends that don't care about them. I want you to curate who cares about you and curate the information that you are intaking. I want you to understand that it's okay to care what some people say about you. It's okay to care what some people think about you, but make sure those are individuals who you are proud to be friends with. Make sure those are individuals that you are proud to look up to. Make sure those are individuals that you are proud to say, you know what, this person said something that made me want to change. Because a lot of times people don't realize a lot of the people that want you to change, that you think you got to change for, first and foremost, don't even know who you are. And second of all, if you were to say, this is the person that made me want to change, people look at you crazy. You're not even proud enough to say, this is the person that wanted me to change because you ain't even proud enough to mention that person. So why are you allowing that individual to make you feel like you're less than? I want you to understand it's okay to feel that way, but you just have to curate and make sure the individuals that are in your circle are pushing you up. Make sure the individuals in your circle are making you want to go harder, making you want to go more, and make sure they're not trying to be funny. They're not trying to push you down, and there are people who love you and genuinely care about you. Now, with dealing with this, one of the things I want you to do is focus on your strengths. A lot of times it's so easy to focus on what's wrong with us. It's so easy to focus on something that we need to change, but we have so many strengths and so many great things about us, but we feel like those things don't matter, right? Because those are things that we need to change. No, focus on your strengths. Focus on the things that you are good at. See, the problem is when we in school, right, you would get all A's and everything and then you'll get a C in one thing. And your parents will be like, you need to get that C up. You need to get that C up and push you about the C, but not care about the A's. And we don't realize we do that to ourselves when we get older. We try to be perfect at everything and we can't. And instead of saying, you know what, that's a passing grade and you're still doing good in school, we convince ourselves that we need to focus all our energy on that C, very similar to what we do with the strengths that we have. We need to focus on no strengths because that's what we're good at and we need to focus on our weaknesses. No, that's what you're good at. Pour into that thing and focus and pay attention to your strengths because a lot of times that's you paying attention to your true self. Now, For yourself, a few things I want you to do is first and foremost, limit your social media intake. I know everybody says it, but I want you to understand social media is a comparison game. You're constantly going to compare yourself. Actually live life, get hobbies, start doing things that you can start feeling fulfilled in life with. But with that, I want you to start getting emotional resilience. Understand everybody's not always going to agree with you. Everybody's always not going to like you. And just because you're having a sad day doesn't mean you have a sad life. You need to learn how to deal with your emotions instead of always allowing these emotions to engulf you. But with that, have compassion for yourself. Stop talking so badly to yourself. Stop telling yourself that you're worthless. Stop telling yourself that you will have a better life if you was like everybody else. And get personal goals for yourself. Have things that you're achieving and you want to go after, because it's so easy when you don't have nothing that you're going after to pay attention to outside noise, to pay attention to what everybody else say, because you don't have a direction that you're going in. Get goals for yourself. Get things in life that are going to fulfill you and make you happy. And ultimately learn to love you and love your life, because you deserve to be here just as well as anybody else. So please learn to validate yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and go into the show notes to sign up to listen to my podcast, also to find my Pinterest, my TikTok, and any other social media. Thank y'all, and tell me how you guys like this style of video that I'm trying out, and have a great one. Also, a lot of this video came from Psycho Cybernetics, the book by Maxwell Waltz. I love that book, and it's my favorite book.